Hello everyone. So welcome back, and I'm excited to share my progress in the past 2 weeks that I worked on. So let's get right into it. So the two major features which I worked on, where one of them was the punch mechanic in the game, and the other was the throwing the gun mechanic. So before I dive into the features, let me go through the thought process of why I implemented these features. So for the punch mechanic, I didn't want the player to feel powerless when he doesn't have any gun in his hand. So it is for this reason I wanted him to feel empowered in facing an enemy with a punch mechanic. Now, coming to the throwable gun mechanic. So I didn't want to have a reload feature in the game, nor did I want to have the player pick up ammos in the game. The reason was because I wanted the player to focus on just the objective and not be distracted by collecting ammo or reloading the gun. I wanted it to be a quick process for the player, quick experience. So it is for this reason that I went the route of, after the ammo clip is finished, I just throw the weapon on an enemy and be done with that weapon. That's how I wanted to go, and that's why I implemented these two features. Let's talk about the thought process and the implementation of the throwing the gun mechanic in the game. So, at first, I took a throwable gun actor and I added it to the object pool. If you want to know what an object pool is, refer to this particular video. It tells you what exactly object pool is and why I implemented that particular feature. So this throwable gun actor has a projectile system. So when it is not in use and it's in the object pool, I have disabled the projectile system, and I have disabled the tick and everything associated with it. So in that way, the gun is completely invisible, and it's not in use. So basically, when the ammo clips finishes, I use this particular throwable gun actor. I activate the projectile, and once it's activated, the gun just moves in the world. So now that that particular feature was in, the next thing was I had to find an angle to throw the gun at. So for this, I needed to know the position of the actors in the world. So there are a lot of actors present in the world. So for that, when the ammo clip finishes, I use a spear trace right from the player's position up to a certain range. Inside that spear trace, I take the multiple actors that the spear trace overlaps. I get the actor's position and the angle, and I find the nearest actor to the player, and I take the normal from the player and the enemy. So what is the normal? It's basically it's like where the gun needs to look at. So this normal will be the face at direction where the gun will be projectile, like will be thrown at. So once I have this normal, I take the gun which is from the object pool, I activate the projectile, I give it a look at rotation, which basically faces the enemy. Once I have that, the gun is thrown at the enemy, and in this way, the gun moves towards the nearest enemy. Now, I have a box collision around the gun. So, what does this box collision do? So, when it collides with an enemy, I get the actor. I see that if it has implemented the enemy interface, which basically says that it's an enemy, and I do complete damage on the enemy and kill him instantly. Now there was some tuning in to be done. When I was throwing the gun, it was just going statically. What I wanted to do was I wanted to have like a rotation on the gun to make it seem like it's thrown. So for that, I used a rotating component on the actor, and it's continuously rotating in when it is visible. So once it's visible, it's continuously rotating, moving in the projectile direction, and then being thrown at an enemy. So all this is being done, and the throwable gun mechanic was implemented in game. The next thing was I had to tune this, but right now I haven't done it. So I have to use an animation of throwing the gun, which I'll be doing it later. But for now, this is a good enough place to park it at. So the next mechanic which I worked on was the punch animation. Right now we have an idle animation in the game, so I needed to make sure that the player is always in control, and he is always in control of getting an enemy down. For that, I needed to have the punch animation. So the first excruciating thing was to work on the animation system. I worked on the control rig. It basically uses like a keyframe animation, which is similar to how I use my editor tools. So I'm getting more familiar with it. I implemented the animations. I'm still not happy with the end process, like the end output, and I'll get back to it once I have a vertical slice in. But for now, it is in a good enough state. Once I had the animations in, right, I needed to make sure that when the hand of the player is extended, a spear trace is spawned at that particular position where the hand is at. So at the at the like stretched hand, a spear trace is spawned. Once the spear trace is spawned, it gets the actors which it collides with, and I then deal damage with it. So now that I have that in, I had to hook this up to the input of fire. Like right now I have a fire weapon, so I'm hooking this up to the fire weapon, where the punch is executed. So once the punch is executed, a spear is spawned, and once the spear is spawned, it deals damage to the player. So that's basically what I did for the past 2 weeks. I'm happy with where the game is progressing, and I'm excited to get to the vertical slice of it. The next few weeks I'll be working on verticality feature in the game, like moving up and down a wall or sliding. So this will be like it will be more related to the player movement. So that is what I'll be working on in the coming few weeks. If you want to follow my journey, please do give a like, share and subscribe, and thank you for watching the video.